I just met Mitchell back from abroad in town and asked him what's new here. Even crazier, Mitchell is a local. So Poirot eagerly showed him just the obituary and asked for more. For Poirot, knowing the town's secrets meant finding the right person. Mitchell suggested Lady Raimondi, the town's walking Wikipedia. Soon enough, Poirot arrived in town, but since Mrs. Hottie was crashing at her friend Judy's place, he decided to pay them a visit. However, since the incident, Mrs. Hottie caught a nasty cold and has been stuck in bed. Yet, she still gave Poirot the full scoop on what went down at the party and the guest list. Then, Poirot swung by the local police station to check if they had any fresh leads, but the detective informed him that they suspected a homeless guy as the culprit. Apparently, Joe's murder had nothing to do with the murder he mentioned, and the detective didn't believe Joe's story either. But is it really so simple? Poirot believed the truth more complex. If Joe lied, he wouldn't die. On the flip side, if the killer was silencing him, Poirot resolved to have Judy take him to the crime scene, only to unexpectedly bump into Mitchell. As it turns out, Mitchell returned to town to help Lady Drake with her garden. Just as Poirot was about to ask him a few questions, Judy interrupted. She had an aversion to Mitchell, so Poirot had to leave. At Lady Drake's, he met Joe's mom and brother. Poirot expressed sympathy for their plight and asked them the million-dollar question: had Joe mentioned seeing any murder before this? The mom replied, "No way, Joe was a little fibber. It's like watching a kite soaring in the wind." Poirot realized that the murder Joe mentioned might not even exist. He turned towards Joe's study, where the water basin was still there like it was narrating. He squatted down to feel the carpet, which was still damp. Even though no one believed Joe, Poirot felt that the kid was Joe's death must be linked to that murder case, so he decided to dig into the unsolved crimes in town. Little did he know what surprise awaited. But the detective was eager to close the case and willing to help, leaving him no option. Poirot turned to Lady Raimondi, recommended by Mitchell, and surprisingly, she provided some useful clues. She informed Poirot that Joe's witness murder could be connected to 3 deceased people, the first being a lady named Smize, who was late. The old lady had worked as a maid in her house, but then the aunt dismissed her for a younger one. The old lady stated that the new maid was a gold digger. Although the aunt was old and had heart issues, it didn't rule out that the maid might have. The aunt's death was sudden. Another was Leslie, a clerk at the town's law firm, stabbed to death on the street years ago. The third was Joe's teacher, found drowned in the lake, but everyone deemed it an accident as there was a massive amount of alcohol in her system at the time. Though on the surface, Poirot appeared to have gathered many clues, in reality, they seemed worthless. He needed to find more details to connect all the cases, so Poirot first visited the law firm where the clerk had. According to the lawyer, the clerk was diligent and cared for clients, but one day he noticed her dishonesty. But before he could fire her, she was killed. Poirot then asked the lawyer if he knew anything about the aunt's case. The old lawyer said the aunt's death was unsuspicious, given her age. Strangely, she willed all her property to the new maid. However, the will was deemed forged, suspected by all to be the maid's doing, as she vanished shortly after. Time passed with no progress in Poirot's investigation. At church, he unexpectedly spotted Joe's brother wearing an expensive watch. Curious, he asked, "Who gave you that?" But the boy replied that he saved up to buy it himself. Poirot then probed him about Joe. To his surprise, the boy angrily replied that although Joe was his sister, her death meant nothing. Poirot was taken aback, curious about what kind of person Joe was, and why almost everyone, including her family, disliked. Was there a mysterious backstory? After leaving the church, Poirot bumped into the priest and started asking again. The priest confirmed that Joe not only loved to lie, but also enjoyed claiming other stories as her own, which was eyebrow-raising. At that moment, Poirot noticed a woman nearby, the priest's assistant and the teacher's best friend. He politely greeted the assistant, hoping she'd talk about the teacher's drowning. However, she freaked out, insisting it was accidental and didn't want to discuss it. She turned and left, leaving Poirot puzzled. Was she hiding something? As the scene shifted, Poirot was once again invited to Lady Drake's house, where he learned that she had turned to her aunt with her husband, but shortly after, her husband died in a car accident, and she still had no clue who the driver was. All she knew was that it was some young dude. Afterward, her aunt passed away, leaving all her fortune to her. Poirot sympathized with Lady Drake's plight. After dinner, they met Mitchell in the garden. Lady Drake seemed to dislike Mitchell intensely, even demanding he stay clear of her property. As Mitchell left, Lady Drake turned to Poirot, expressing her concerns about Mitchell's odd behavior. She speculated that he might be the killer of Joe. Poirot flatly denied this since he had already looked into it. He confirmed Mitchell wasn't in town the night Joe was killed. Meanwhile, Poirot still struggled to find the key. Just when he was feeling hopeless, Mrs. Hottie suddenly recalled something vital. It was about the night Joe was killed, when she saw Drake appear terrified and drop a vase in fear. Drake was looking straight at Joe's study at that moment, and Mrs. Hottie suspected that he must have seen the killer that night.